What's going on, everybody? This your boy B Mahari here, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast here. Salute to the entire LDBC. Salute to the greater boxing community. Now, just give me a couple of moments here, guys. I'm gonna send out some links here. We take care of this right away before we get going here. Here you go. Here you go. There you go. There you go. See if the client wants to join in. There you go. I don't know if he'll go, but we'll see. There you go. All right, there we go. Send out some links to some of the brothers who want to come on live. So we'll sit back tightly while they try to come on board. All right. So the name of this podcast here today is the state of the heavyweight division. Now, as most everybody knows by now, Andy Ruiz pulled off the biggest upset of 2019, defeating Anthony Joshua to become the unified WBA, IBF, and WBO heavyweight champion in the world, becoming the first Mexican heavyweight champion in boxing history. Huge, significant moment, though, guys. Now, one of the things that I'm kind of thinking about, though, too, as I'm also thinking about as well, is how is this going to affect and shape up the rest of the heavyweight division? You know what I'm saying? Now, get some other links. Get some other things out here too. There we go. Perfect. All right. So this is how this is going at this moment, though, guys. Muhammad is the one. Salute, brother. Thank you for coming in. All right. Now, the way that I see how this is shaping up the heavyweight division is very simple as this. The thing is this. This is a huge shakeup in the heavyweight division. And now is going to set up a lot of things here that could possibly mean we could be closer to an undisputed heavyweight champion in boxing. All right. Now, the one thing that's kind of bothering to me in my head, though, is how desperate Anthony Joshua and Matchroom Boxing have become ever since they lost the heavyweight title belts. Now there's conflicting reports that Anthony Joshua wants a rematch in the US. Eddie Hearn wants a rematch in the UK. I mean, all sorts of conflicting reports of what they want. The point of the matter is this: they want to have the heavyweight titles because the simple fact of the matter is they want to regain the power that they lost when they lost the fight. Okay, now. The way this sounds to me is, it sounds to me Eddie Hearn is a desperate man right now. He is a complete desperate man because he's lost the most leverage of power that he has in his stable right now. And now, Al Heyman now owns all the heavyweight championship belts. This is the one fear that Eddie Hearn, this is the biggest fear Eddie Hearn had if he would have, in the event if Anthony Joshua would lose his entire belts. Now he's trying to secure mandatories with Dillian White at the WBC and Alexander Usyk with the WBA. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the WBA or IBF. Who knows? But he's trying to secure up mandatories in the event that if Anthony Joshua doesn't get the titles again. Now, this doesn't guarantee that Anthony Joshua is going to regain all the title belts, okay? Because remember, before he became champion, before he rose up in the rankings, okay, he was a guy that was more content of just developing, winning some fights, just slowly growing, and then eventually, if he wants to become a champion, he'll decide to do that. But it did not show to me that he was a guy that was committed to being a champion. That the hunger, and the drive to become heavyweight champion was just never there. There was just something in Anthony Joshua that made me believe that this guy is this doesn't believe in himself. And when you don't believe in yourself as a boxer, you've already lost the fight. That's it. Okay. When you want to become champion, uh, talent alone is not enough. Okay. You have to have grit. You got to have your heart. Nitty G, what's up, sister? Thank you for coming in. Much appreciated. Okay. Much appreciated, girl. Now, the thing is this. You know, the way I look at this heavyweight division right now, it's wide open at this point. If Andy Ruiz once again beats Anthony Joshua in a rematch, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for Anthony Joshua as a legitimate heavyweight title contender. All right. Now, if they tried to set up the rematch in the UK, this is going to prove the suspicion that I had, and I'm going to say this now, that Anthony Joshua is nothing more than a British level fighter than a world title contender. All right. All the great fighters in the UK have went overseas to fight the best, except for Joe Calzaghe. All right. All the great UK fighters have went overseas to become champion, to face against the best in the United States. Okay. Lennox Lewis, he traveled overseas. He beat Mike Tyson. He beat Evander Holyfield. He beat Ray Mercer. He avenged the Alan McCall loss. He went overseas to the United States and avenged those losses and became undisputed heavyweight champion in America. So it's not like you can't be a domestic fighter. It doesn't work that way. The money, the big time money, is here in the United States of America. Everybody knows that. And if you don't, then hey, I can't help you see otherwise. All right? Now, surely but thoroughly, the thing is this. I firmly believe that Andy Ruiz is going to beat him again. You know what I'm saying? I firmly believe that Andy Ruiz, he didn't just beat Joshua in that fight. It wasn't like a Hasim Rahman one punch lucky knockout. It was a surgical beatdown. Now, whether it was due to a panic attack, who knows? But when you're but if Anthony Joshua wasn't prepared or wasn't at 100%, then the man should not be even fighting in the first place. Craig L, salute, brother. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Now, one of my favorite trilogies in boxing history, to me, will forever be Riddick Bowe versus Evander Holyfield. That was some of the greatest pieces of heavyweight history that you'll ever see. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was two outstanding fighters that pushed each other to the limit and showed their individual greatness in the ring. Riddick Bowe, you know, for throughout that whole trilogy showed his inner talents. And through that first fight with Evander Holyfield, he was in shape. He was showing what he could have been. And then Evander Holyfield avenged the loss and showed you that he was the real deal and he had the heart to come back through adversity. And the way I look at it is this. I see as another obstacle that that Anthony Joshua has to try to overcome. Now, if he doesn't believe that he can do it, then he shouldn't be fighting. He should probably quit the sport while he still has his health intact. And speaking about his health, if the reports are saying that, if the things are being said that Anthony Joshua couldn't remember what happened during the fight, I'm not going to trip on it too much because a lot of fighters can't remember stuff that was going on during the fight. Okay, because you're getting hit with heavy punches. You know what I'm saying? So JC, salute, brother. Thank you for coming into the channel. Welcome. Now, the bottom line is this. If he wasn't physically into getting into the fight, then he should have never been fighting. And the reason why I say that is this. If you're getting knocked out in sparring, if you're getting beaten up, before the fight, and you're putting on all this heavy weight on yourself, and you're complaining too much about your cup, about your gloves, all before the fight, then you shouldn't be fighting. Jeff the producer, welcome aboard, man. Salute, homie. I'm chilling right here, man. Just shooting the stuff about the heavyweight division, bro. And speaking of that, too, Deontay Wilder is in a huge driver's seat, and I'll explain why. He has decided to take the route of avenging, the two victories he had. He's going for beating Luis Ortiz for a second time to prove that the first victory wasn't a fluke, even though I didn't consider it a fluke. It was a great comeback victory. I watched the fight multiple times. Wilder showed heart and grit when he was battling through the seventh round, and then he survived it, overcame it, and knocked him out in the 10th. That was, to me, one of the best defining performances of Deontay Wilder's career, followed by the rematch with Tyson Fury. Now, if Deontay Wilder decides, you know what, I want to go for undisputed, then you know what, the rest of those guys, Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury, they can all wait. Just the producer asks the question. So, Abil, what do you think AJ should do after this devastating loss? Thank you for asking that question, Jeff, the producer. The way I see it is this: if I were promoting AJ, I would tell him, listen, take 6 to 8 months off. Just don't even think about boxing. Just come back, refresh yourself. You have a lot of money. Just take a breather from boxing. Don't even think about the loss. Come back, refresh. If you want to take a year off, do so. But I would say to him, listen, I want you to get your health back together. I want you to refocus, re-energize your confidence, and then when you're ready to go, ready to come back to boxing again, then we can reassess the situation. But for Eddie Hearn to try to push for an immediate rematch, this tells me that he is a desperate man because he wants the power of those belts. Listen, the belts are like Floyd Mayweather once said, all belts do is collect dust, all right? These belts, though, bro, Eddie Hearn, the only reason why Eddie Hearn would want these belts so bad is that he wants to control the power and leverage in the heavyweight division. But that's his fault for not negotiating and not signing and approving the deal to face against Deontay Wilder. Because listen, I don't believe for a fact that Eddie Hearn believes in his heart of hearts that Anthony Joshua can beat Deontay Wilder. And after what we saw against Andy Ruiz, I mean, it's pure validation. I mean, there's no other way to spin it. Okay, if this were Wilder, trust me, the minute the bell rings, he's going to use the left jab, hit him with the 1-2, and I'm gonna say it right now. He's going to try to pull off a Bahrain Severn and just recently a Dominic Brazil type knockout. He's going to try to punish Anthony Joshua, punish him real bad. Do you understand me? He's going to try to do whatever he can to punish this boy, punish him real bad for all the things that Deontay Wilder went through to try to get to AJ. Okay, now if he has to fight Dillian White, also if he has to fight Dillian White, I hope he just gets rid of Dillian White. Get him out of here. Besides, he's nothing more. Listen, I'm not going to call Dillian White a bum, but I'm just going to say he's not an elite fighter, okay? He was never an elite fighter in my eyes, and at the same time, he's continuously keeps whining about how he was never the mandatory for the WBC. I'm going to get into that in a second. Just the producer says, I agree, man. AJ needs to find his inner confidence fighting before he jumps back in there. Plus, he needs to work on throwing a damn jab and using his height. Right. That's, you know what? Yeah, it's a great point, Jeff, the producer. Also, the other thing that also is really damning to me, he has no upper body or head movement. He just stands there, stands there vertically. He don't move his head. He don't move side to side, and he gets hit with jabs. He gets hit with easy 1-2s. I remember the fight against Alexander Povetkin. I remember that Povetkin was tagging him with some simple 1-2s, and he already got AJ bleeding from the nose. And against Ruiz, when he had the man beat, what did Ruiz do? He stayed sturdy. He didn't try to go tall. He stayed low, and he hit him with some hooks and dropped this boy. All right? He needs to listen. I would say dispose his trainers, at least go to an American trainer that's going to teach you some crafts about footwork and defense. The concern I have is he's 30 years old. He's already have like what 23, 20 to 25 fights. Let me check it out. Let me check out the box rec for him real quick. Anthony Joshua. Okay. Oh, he's only 29. Okay. But still, that is now he's about to enter his 30s at this point. So he's got 20. He's already got 23 fights in. Okay. Now I know it's kind of difficult to change when you're already 23 or 25 fights in, but there are still a lot of things you can still improve upon. Listen, like everybody in the LDBC, not just in the LDBC, but also in new media and also to everyone else who knows the sport very well. Thing is this: you can't be as prospect if you're a champion. Okay, if you this. I don't know. I don't know if he decided to go the easy route to take the IBF belt over Charles Martin. You know, when the WBC had their clean boxing program. I'm not going to speculate anything. However, I felt that AJ, in my heart of hearts, should have taken his time and try to figure out what his weaknesses were to try to get better. But I feel that they rushed him too early and gave him unnecessary attention and praise that he never really earned it or deserved it yet. You know what I'm saying? You can't just listen. Like I said, you can't be a prospect when you're a champion. All right, when you have the belts, you're expected to fight against the best fighters that they're gonna be facing in front of you. Deontay Wilder already proved that. He took the title away from Bermane Stiverne. He defended it against Luis Ortiz. He defended it against Arthur Spilka. He defended it against Tyson Fury, and he still retained the belt even though it was a draw. Okay, he defeated Dominic Brazil, who was never an elite fighter to begin with. Okay, now he's going back to the Lions Den and rematching those guys again. Now, if Al Heyman decides I'm going to create the undisputed heavyweight championship fight between Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury are going to have no choice but to move out of the way because they know that if Wilder becomes undisputed champion and if we got Wilder next, believe you me, those fights are going to be on the table, and they're going to get a lot of big money out of it. Okay. I mean, look, just think about the implications of it. For Tyson Fury, he could become the first British undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis back in '99. And for Luis Ortiz, can you imagine him, a Cuban heavyweight, being the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world? That'd be very, very huge. You feel me? That'd be a very huge thing. But that's where it all comes down. That's what all there is to it, though, guys. So, I think that Al Heyman is in the driver's seat. He don't have to do interviews. Robert Stewart, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. You know what? Let me do something for you real quick. Let me see. Let me give Robert Stewart a wrench here, and let me give Jeff Producer a wrench still too. There you go. Robert Stewart. Salute, man. Thank you for coming into the channel, though, brother. Yeah, Mr. Muhammad is the one says, wouldn't that be something if Fury loses to Schwartz? Where would that lead to be the heavyweight division? Woo! Boy, if that were to be the case, my, oh my, oh my. If Schwartz finds a way to beat Tyson Fury, I'm telling you, this would be a shocking upset. And this would put Tyson Fury way down in the rankings in terms of, as one of the elite heavyweights in boxing. I'm telling you, bro, that would be crazy. And then Deontay Wilder wouldn't even have to consider taking a rematch because he already lost a guy that's been proven unknown. Yep, absolutely, man. Anytime, brother. Anytime. All right. Exactly. So, thing is this. This is where I see the heavyweight division at this point. It needed a much needed shakeup, and now we got Daniel Dubois. Who else? F.A. Ajaba. I actually like F.A. Ajaba though. I think he's got potential. He's got good knockout power, but he's gonna have to really learn how to use footwork and restructure his craft a bit. But I like F.A. Ajaba. I think he's a potential heavyweight champion in the future though. I'm hoping that they don't rush this guy. You know, he's only 25 years old, but he's got some good potential too. So hopefully that he continues to improve his craft and keep on just getting better. Robert Stewart says, "I gotta see if Schwartz has fights on YouTube." Me too. I haven't. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be honest. I've seen some highlights, but I haven't seen uh, full length matches of Fa Ajaba. But I feel like this guy is gonna be the goods. He just needs to continue to improve just his footwork and his defense because the power's gonna be there. He's rangy and he's got a good devastating knockout power. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be an interesting time. But Jet the producer said this year of upsets. Oh yeah, man, we've had plenty of upsets, bro. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed is that we couldn't we won't be able to see the rematch of Tony Harrison versus Jamel Charlo. I was anxious to see that rematch more than anything, bro, because I felt that Tony Harrison was able to beat Jamel Charlo with the jab, but I'm gonna save that for another time. But I'm gonna stick to the heavyweight divisions. But absolutely, we've seen a lot of upsets. Yeah, Robert Stewart says I like Fa Jabba a lot. He said I still haven't seen Schwartz fights either. Yeah, me neither too, bro. I'm telling you, man. We have not seen any fights of him yet. So I don't know how this guy fights. Yeah. So, but I'm sure that PBC is going to try to redate the rematch of Jamel Charlo versus Tony Harrison. You know, if those of y'all were listening to the Smoke City podcast, I said that, you know, that Tony Harrison, you know, did enough to win the fight because he used the end of the jab to keep the power punching Jamel Charlo off bay. But also, I felt that, you know, Jamel Charlo was more content at trying to go for the knockout instead of sticking to the strategy, which is using the ring, also getting physical with Tony Harrison and try to go to the body against him. You know what I'm saying? It was a very winnable match for Jamel Charlo to beat, but Tony Harrison countered that by using the jab to keep the power puncher off bay. So when Tony Harrison does recover and get ready for the rematch, I had Tony Harrison winning it by split decision. But if Jamel Charlo, you know, comes back and knocks him out or finds a way to beat him in a dominant fashion, hey, I give him all the credit in the world for doing so. You know, but that I'm actually very excited about the heavyweight division is that it needed a much needed shakeup because it was kind of getting stale for over the last few months. Because remember, I, you know, the thing is, Robert Stewart says Charlo wins the rematch. In my opinion, I had no dispute. I have no problem with that. If Jamel Charlo beats Tony Harrison, I'll tip my hat out to him and I'll eat my crow. You know what I'm saying? You can come back to this live stream, and then when I do come back, I'll say, hey, I was wrong. I eat my crow to that, and hey, he did it. He beat him in the rematch. But as I was saying, I felt that the heavyweight division was getting kind of stale. You know what I mean? Because I felt like, you know, the heavyweight there weren't many matches that were going to get made because the heavyweight division was kind of at a standstill. But now because of the rematch, now it's provided a much needed shakeup. Okay, and just like what Deontay Wilder said, champions don't quit. Okay, when Anthony Joshua spat out the mouthpiece, he basically said, "Listen, I can't beat this guy." That's like the first admission where you start spinning out the mouthpiece and then start shaking your head. The guy was looking to get out of there. Okay, you can't be a champion you can't be a champion and not quit. Muhammad is one says another prediction I'll make is Al Heyman will eventually run Eddie Hearn out of business, and AJ will leave Hearn to come to BBC. Notice how AJ stays in New York after his loss. Well, yeah, exactly. But also he had to stay because of the medical thing too. But you heard it first. No, okay, yep, I agree. No problem with that. But I think that's a good prediction too. See, the biggest mistake that Anthony Joshua made was this. He allowed his promoter to dictate his business and dictate his career. Now, this is like I said previously. Now, if I were his promoter, I would not let him do that. I would say, listen, you are the guy that's going to have to make the decision. I'm just here to do the business for you, for your self-interest. But the way that the structure of matchroom boxing is that they put their own self-interest way before the fighters. All right? And and also the other thing too, since that Al Heyman is now in talks with Sky Sports, I'm possibly bringing fights to the UK and also having UK fighters come down to the US. I'm telling you, bro, this is going to be another huge power play in which Matchroom won't be able to cover, and the Zone is going to lose a lot of subscribers and a lot of views. All right, it's going to be more of the only people that's going to stick around for the Zone is probably the Canelo fans. But even then, they're going to see the writing on the wall too. Muhammad is one. Jeff the producer said that could happen. Robert Zura says Uncle Hal can do wonders for AJ. Okay, Al Heyman was over in the UK negotiating with Spy Stores, and oh boy, watch out. Yep, exactly. Yep, I'm telling you. If Al Heyman can if Al Heyman is able to negotiate a deal with Sky Sports, I'm telling you, this is going to be a huge power play in which Matchroom cannot recover from. Because who are they going to turn to sign a deal to present their fights? All right? And Muhammad is one says, smash that like button. Exactly. We got 5 people in the building there as well. Let's get them likes up to 10. Try to get them likes up to 10 for me, guys. I would really appreciate that. But as I was saying before, right now, think about this for a moment. The one thing that is kind of bothersome for me is when when dumb casual fans will say, oh, Deontay Wilder only sells 9,000 seats. Nobody knows who Deontay Wilder is. You know what? Last week, I was actually down at the basketball court in the little town in Minneapolis. Right now, the thing I went up to every single basketball recreational player, and I asked them, "Do you guys know who Deontay Wilder is?" 8 out of 10 people that I asked on that basketball court, they all said, "Oh yeah, absolutely. That knockout artist, of course, yeah, absolutely." You know what I'm saying? And I asked them like, "Do you know the name of Anthony Joshua?" Most of them said, "No." Who is Anthony Joshua? They all thought he was Kellen Winslow Jr. They all assumed that he was Kellen Winslow Jr. But the thing is this: Anthony Joshua is not an international star. He's only a UK product fighter. All right. If he were an international star, why is it that he's not on all different commercials? Because anytime Deontay Wilder has impressive knockouts, listen, when the knockout of Dominic Brazil happened, it was the second trending video on YouTube. Okay? Even fans who were not into boxing even saw who Deontay Wilder was and saw that amazing gunshot knockout where he just went boom. Okay? So, I'm sorry, all right? I mean, the word has finally come out. Anthony Joshua is not well known only to the hardcore boxing fans like ourselves. But if you're asking, is he a well-known fighter in terms of the casuals? He's not. He's legitimately not. Okay? Even ESPN put him as the most popular athlete above Anthony Joshua. Okay? Put him in the mid-30s while Joshua was in the 40 section. I don't even know the lineup. But the thing is this. Anthony Joshua is not is only a UK product fighter. He is not an international conglomerate. He doesn't sell out many arenas. And listen, you can sell garbage fight in the UK, but when you come to the US, only great fights here. Okay, and what Matchroom tried to do, especially through the zone, they were trying to push their kind of brand of boxing to the United States, and they assumed that the most of the fans are gonna come in and buy such a subscription to the zone. You can't do that. Most people have Fox Sports, NBC Sports, CBS, ESPN. Those are the sports that we always carry every day. Okay, I mean we get always notifications from different sporting brands, you know, and they can't beat us in terms of production, in terms of viewership, production, in terms of numbers. Okay, so the bottom line is this: the zone right now, they're struggling, and they can't gain any traction in the United States, and they know it. They know that they messed up the ball too. They messed up the ball real bad, and everybody's playing catch up, and that's all there is to it. Just the producer says now people in America know Joshua as the UK dude that got knocked out that big Mexican. You know what? And oh yeah, that actually sparked the thing in my head too. And salute to 78 Sports TV. He actually made this excellent point too. Remember, Andy Ruiz was signed with Top Rank last year, and they didn't know what to do with him. So what do? They kicked it to the curb. They basically voided his contract and let him walk because Bob Arum thought, well, he's big, he's fat. I just don't see him as a Mexican heavyweight champion. I'm just like paraphrasing, but the point is, they felt that Ruiz was not going to be a draw. And what did Al Heyman do? Picked up his contract, picked up the bones, and basically pulled off the biggest upset this year. Okay, now Andy Ruiz is now in control, while Matchroom is not in control. Okay, they listen. Matchroom cannot dictate. Oh yeah, for Jeff Blue says Bob is somewhere crying when Ruiz won. Damn right, damn right. In fact, now let me tell you this too. It Ruiz and Joshua have the rematch in the United States. If they do it in LA, Las Vegas, or in Texas, trust me when I tell you, Mexican fans will come in droves to watch that fight. Listen, they always come in droves to support their fighters. But when it comes to a Mexican heavyweight champion against a UK fighter, woo! Oh man, I'm telling you, the Mexican fans will come in droves. They will come in and they will support the crap out of Andy Ruiz. Robert Stewart says, "Scam Daddy." That's right, Scam Daddy, Scam Daddy, Scam Daddy. Hey, we might have messed up here because we didn't believe in Andy Ruiz because I just don't see him. He's just too fat. I'm sorry. We just had to let him go. Well, you lost that battle. I'm telling you, bro. Al Heyman. What's so mind-boggling about this is that Al Heyman is pulling off all these moves behind the scenes, and yet he has not done one single interview. Now think about this. Think about this for a second. The difference between Don King and Al Heyman. When Don King was empowered in boxing, you always saw him on camera with the interviews and always showing that brash arrogance. That old school stuff that Don King used to do. With Al Heyman, he don't even have to do any interviews with you because he knows the boxing game. He knows what the promoters are going to try to do to you, and he's trying to direct you to get the most money for you, so that way when you retire, you can retire with a lifetime savings where you can pretty much decide what they want to do, what you want to do after you retire from boxing. That's how Floyd Mayweather became the richest man in boxing, and that's why Deontay Wilder is the richest man in the heavyweight division. That's all there is to it. Jet the producer says, I hope they bring it to Vegas. I live there and I'll be in the building to see AJ get touched up again. Well, yeah, I would listen. In fact, I would say like this: if I had to choose three different locations where I would love to see a rematch take place, LA would be number one for me because I got family down in LA, and I could obviously see the LA brothers right there. You know, Cali, Town Business, the rest of the crew there. You know what I'm saying? But if it does take Vegas in Las Vegas, oh man, it would produce a lot of big money. Can you imagine the kind of viewers that will bring into as well for the rematch? And considering the fact that Mexican fans will overtrounce the UK boxing fans, man, I'm telling you, bro, it will be a scary sight if that happens. You get it what I'm saying? Man, I'm telling you, bro. The possibilities are endless in the heavyweight division. This is the kind of shakeup we needed. All right. Now the heavyweight division is sparking right now. Eddie Hearn is running around doing interviews, being in denial, wanting to have the rematch in the UK, and Andy Ruiz is saying, hey, if you want the rematch in the UK, give me $50 million. Just the producer said Vegas would be lit that night. And bro, I'll be all in the mix. Yeah, I know you would. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I would. I don't know if if I ever decided to go to Vegas though too. I'll make sure to come in prepared too, because all the dirty stuff that goes down in Vegas though. But when it comes to boxing, everybody's gonna be coming in there big time in droves. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, this is the kind of shakeup that we have needed for a while. All right. Now there's some spark, there's some interest in the heavyweight division right now. And now I'm gonna end it by saying this. I don't believe that Anthony Joshua will win in a rematch. This is why I don't understand why he's allowing Eddie Hearn to say, well, Anthony Joshua is going to take an immediate rematch when Anthony Joshua is saying another thing too. Listen, Anthony Joshua needs to learn how to be a boss. All right, he needs to learn how to take control of his career and basically make decisions for himself. Listen, his dad was angry at Eddie Hearn after the fight, and you saw how Anthony Joshua was trying to restrain his father. Like, no, Dad, don't get mad at him. Get mad at me. I made the decision, though, bro. Fool. Listen, you are the boxer, bro. At the end of the day, the boxer is the main man in charge. He decides what to do with his career. He can decide which trainer to pick. He can decide which promoter he wants to be represented. Any manager. It's basically his shoulders. But Anthony Joshua doesn't feel like a person that doesn't look like to be a person that wants to take charge of anything. He's more of a follower than a leader. All right. When Deontay Wilder is in control is around, he takes control of his career. Everything the buck stops with Deontay Wilder. Of any fight he wants to fight, if he wants to choose any venue or any network he wants to sign, all things come through Wilder. With AJ, it's not necessarily the case. It's AJ second and Eddie Hearn first. And you cannot let a promoter dictate your career and dictate your livelihood. That's the biggest sin that you could do in boxing, and it's gonna make you broke. Just ask Mike Tyson. Just ask Joe Frazier. Just ask the number of fighters that basically allowed their promoter to run their careers and basically took away all the money that they've earned in the ring. Okay, boxing is a dangerous sport. Okay, now and I just wanted to say my thoughts and prayers out to Zab Judah, though, too. For those of y'all that don't know, Zab Judah suffered a brain bleed during one of his recent fights. Now, he's basically in stable condition and he's recovering very well. Salute to Blue Plus Sports TV for that report, though, as well. And also, Adonis Stevenson is also, recovering good from his recent ordeal after he lost his light heavyweight championship belts back last year, too. But the one thing that people need to understand is boxing is a very dangerous sport. Even one punch or multiple blows could change your life forever. Okay, so boxers need to recognize and understand the how uh how to manage themselves, how to manage their money, and how to bring the right people around them that is going to help you make the right decisions in the future. to help your family, to help make sure that you don't lose any money when you leave the boxing ring, because there are a lot of leeches and a lot of snitches and a lot of robbers that's going to take what you've earned. All right, and that's a huge lesson for all people that are going to try to get into boxing. All right, and that's what I want to end on note on that. But my hearts and prayers go out to Zab Judah and his family though too. I know like I said, he's recovering very well. Coming out of the hospital though, but this is what happens when you stay in the ring for too long. One day, man, you might get hit with the wrong punch that you don't see coming, and it could be the last punch you take in your life. So just be thoughtful about how these fighters approach themselves too. And I'm alluding to the fact of saying this: Anthony Joshua should not have to be the guy 10 to 15 years from now doing interviews saying, "Well, it was my it was my it was my decision to let Eddie Hearn run his career. I should have left him about a long time ago." Like, fool, you're 29 years old. You're still in the prime of your career. You can make your decision now. Okay? You should not let Eddie Hearn decide what you want to do. Wake up, bro. Take control of your career and make sure that whatever decision you make, you're making the best decision for yourself and for your family. Okay? If you allow a promoter to dictate what you want to do and force you into a rematch that you may not want, because after you lost the fight you felt relieved when you lost, then you should not be even fighting. You should probably take a year off, refresh yourself, and regain the motivation to get back into the ring. Because once you feel like you don't belong in the ring anymore, you've already lost. Your mind's already in retirement. That's like me in basketball. I've been playing Special Olympics basketball for 10 years, okay? I've been through world games. I've won numerous gold medals in basketball, in flag football. But this year, I'm not practicing as much because I felt like my I felt like I'm at the end of the road. And why should I continue playing if I felt like I'm not giving everything I got, even though I can still compete and give it everything I have, that the fire in my belly is not there anymore. And I'm alluding to the fact by saying this, okay? The thing I'm saying is this: if Anthony Joshua feels like he doesn't want to fight anymore, then you should not be in the ring, okay? Thank you, Jeff, the producer. I appreciate it. You know, I'll allude to the saying this. I've been through world games. I met through different international athletes who've been through the same circumstances I'm in too. And when you're out there playing, you're basically out there not just representing yourself, but the people around you that basically brought you to where you're at. All right. The medals are just a representation of the hard work I put in. I was never the quickest athlete. I was cut from my high school team 3 times, and I had to work 3 times as hard, because either the player that basically made the team before me either basically quit or basically got kicked out of the team due to violating team rules, or probably was not eligible academically. Okay, so it made me work hard, and it made me much more of a competitive person out of it. But when you basically have been competing for so long, and when you basically have accomplished so much, then then the mind game starts to play into yourself. Like, why should I even be competing? I accomplished so much. I don't know. I've had any left in the tank. And I don't know if that's what Anthony Joshua is thinking, but if he's having those thoughts in his head, then, oh yeah, I still play. I still play for fun. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I quit basketball forever. I'm just saying in terms of the actual team competitive sense. I've been with the same team for 10 years, and have been captain for 8 of it. But the thing is this: if Anthony Joshua feels like, if I if I can't be the man again, then I shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be fighting anymore. And when you have killers like Deontay Wilder and now Andy Ruiz, and the technical craftsmen like Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz, bro, it's the wrong division to have those kind of thoughts. Okay, so I'm hoping that Anthony Joshua can find a way to rebound from himself, and And maybe if he has to take a couple of fights to regain his confidence, until before he becomes a world champion again, then that's how the way it should be. But I don't care what Joshua does this one. Like I said, I'm hoping to see an undisputed heavyweight champion, and it's going to be Deontay Wilder. That's right. I cannot wait to see the day when Deontay Wilder becomes undisputed heavyweight champion, and then eventually, he's going to happen for about a month until the sanctioned bodies start to play mind games with the mandatory. So, but I'm going to close it out by that. But thank you guys for tuning in to another prime time episode of MehariNation Sports Podcast here. You know what I'm saying? Thank you all for the support. Rob Stewart, Jeff the producer, Muhammad is the one. Let's see. Also, JC, Craig L, and Nitty G. Thank y'all for sticking around. I was only gonna go live for about a half an hour, but we almost made it almost close to an hour too. So, but thank you guys so much for your support, though, man. We got only 244 subscribers. Let's try to push it to 300 subscribers, though, bro, and continue to keep building, though. Okay. So, share this live stream on your social media platforms. Let's continue to keep with the engagement, though. I'll put up more boxing videos. My specialty is basketball, so I'll also keep an eye on the NBA Finals. I'll be back tomorrow night with the broadcast of Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Toronto Raptors and the Golden State Warriors. The Raptors are only a victory away from the championship. But will Kevin Durant return tomorrow night? We shall see. All right. So this has been Abir Mehari, representing MehariNation Sports Podcast here. Salute to the entire LDBC, and thank y'all for tuning in. And I'll see you tomorrow night for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Have a good night, everybody.